E.N.D here. Nowadays, whenever a new standard set is released, we get a couple of new Commander pre-constructed decks, but the spring set release is a special one because the yearly Commander products are released. In conjunction with Strixhaven, we'll get the Commander 2021. 5 new Commander pre-constructed decks, all of them dual colors and all of them are related to the 5 Strixhaven colleges. But is it worth it to buy one or more of these decks, or to put it simple, which is the most out of the 5 Commander decks worth it? Which one will you buy? For this analysis, I will rank each deck in terms of mechanics, playability and fun, and especially in terms of value. Let's start with Lorehold Legacies, red and white, which is commonly known as Ordos Colors. It's a particular deck themed around artifacts and graveyard recursion. Main commander, Osgir the Real Constructor, a particular legendary creature which can pump other creatures by sacrificing artifacts. It can also replicate an artifact by exiling it from your graveyard. The secondary commander, Alibu Ancient Witness, gives other artifacts creatures haste and can deal a certain amount of damage depending on your tapped artifacts, including your rocks, Soul Ring, Signet, etc. etc. Other notable cards in this deck: Monologue Text, a 3-drop enchantment which, if an opponent will cast their second spell, you create a treasure token, therefore increasing your artifacts and ramping your mana. Archaeomancer's Map, and also 3-drop artifact ideal for mana fixing and ramping, which is quite rare for white. Excavation Technique can destroy any target non-land permanent, a creature, an enchantment, an artifact, and even a planeswalker. You can also demonstrate copying the spell, but an opponent will also copy the spell. Anyway, you will have some treasure tokens. Hellkite Tyrant, a reprint from Gatecrash, can serve as an alternative win condition. My verdict: Mechanics 8. This deck needs artifacts. More artifacts you create or have, more are the chances of winning. There's also some combos with graveyard returns. Playability and fun, 8.5. It's a very good deck in terms of playability and fun. Thanks to Osgir, which can replicate artifacts, and Alibu, which can deal a lot of damage, this deck can be quite devastating. Value, 9. This is one of the best decks in terms of value, thanks to Monologue Text and Archaeomancer's Map, the 2 most valuable cards out of Commander 2021. Overall, 8. One of the best decks out of the 5. Prismari Performance, blue and red, commonly known as Izzet Colors. It's a particular deck focusing on casting and copying instants and sorcery spells. Main commander, Zafai Thunder Conductor, which thanks to his Witchcraft, whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell, you scry 1, create a 4/4 elemental creature token if the spell mana cost was 5 or greater, and can deal 10 damage to a random opponent if the spell mana cost is 10 or greater. The secondary commander, Veyran Voice of Duality, another Magecraft creature which can pump up as much as you can cast or copy instants or sorcery spells. Something very useful is that it can double triggered abilities caused by casting and copying instant and sorcery spells. Other notable cards: Octavia Living Thesis, a 10-drop Magecraft and Ward creature, very difficult to target and can change the base power and toughness of a target creature whenever you cast or copy an instant or sorcery spell. It's interesting the fact that you can cast this for only 2 blue. Reinterpret, a counter spell. What I need to add more: let you cast a spell of equal or lesser mana value free of charge. Surge to Victory, a sorcery that pumps your creatures based on an exiled instant or sorcery spell. If a creature pumped this way deals combat damage to a player, you can cast a copy of the spell. Imagine an extra turn spell. The Refrains, a cycle of 2 cards, 1 blue, Inspiring Refrain, and 1 red, Rousing Refrain. Both of them have suspend, and once cast, you suspend them again. This means you can cast them multiple times. Add some counter remover and you can haste this process. Pyromancer's Goggles, one of the best cards from Magic Origins. Add 1 red and you can copy an instant or sorcery spell. My verdict: Mechanics 8.5. Any deck that can benefit from instants and sorcery spells have proven to be a very strong deck. Add the ability to copy those spells multiple times and you have a very strong deck. Playability and fun, 7. To cast and copy multiple instants and sorcery spells, you need mana. If you don't draw those needed mana ramps cards, you've had it. Value, 6. Unfortunately is the least valuable deck out of the 5, lacks that high value card. Overall, 7. It's not a control deck, neither a burn deck. Personally, not my favorite. Quantum Cuadrix, blue and green, commonly known as Simic colors. It's a particular deck which focuses on token and +1/+1 creation. Main commander Cuadrix and Nef twin casters. Has Ward 2, which serves as a good defense from opponent's target and can double any token you create. Secondary commander S6 Factual Bloom, a particular legendary creature that can transform a token into a target creature. Can you imagine targeting a skewed swarm? Other notable cards. Oversimplifies. This sorcery is a thorn in the side. Can be used as a board wipe or to create a very big creature token. All creatures will be exiled and all players will have only a big fractal creature token. Azur's Predation, an 8-drop green sorcery which, let's face it, green doesn't have any issues in ramping. For each creature all opponents' creatures, you will create a 4/4 beast token and fight those creatures. If you have Cuadrix and Nef, you double those tokens. Guardian Augmenter, a commander lord, gives your commanders a +2/+2 and hexproof. Not bad, especially if you have 2 commanders with partner. Theoretical duplication, an instant that can give you a copy of a creature an opponent casted. My verdict, Mechanics 9. The facility to duplicate tokens has always been a good strategy in Commander games. Playability and fun, 8. Personally, I love this deck. It's easy to play, just remember all the triggers. Value 7. Not one of the most valuable decks out of the 5, but I would keep an eye on certain cards which can spike. Overall 8. Personally, it's my favorite one out of the 5 in terms of mechanics and playability. Lacks a bit of a high value card. Silver Quill Statement, black and white, better known as Ordos Color, a particular deck with a political and aggro focus. More opponents you have, more this deck will work. Main commander Brina the Demagogue, a particular legendary creature which can pump your creatures based on players attacking your opponents. That player also draws a card. Secondary commander Felisa Fang of Silver Quill, can fly, can pump other attacking creatures thanks to its mentor, and can replace dying non-token creatures with a 2/1 Inkling token. Other notable cards: Tempting Contract, an artifact which gives you and your opponent treasure tokens. Keen Duelist, a commander version of a Dark Confidant. Cunning Rhetoric, an enchantment which exiles cards from opponent's library, giving the ability to cast them if they dare to attack you. Ink Shield, I love this spell. Prevent all combat damage, and for each 1 damage prevented, you'll create a vast army of 2/1 Inkling tokens. Deathbringer Leash, a reprint straight from Eventide, and because Eventide print run is considerably low, this is the most valuable card in this deck. It's a white and black lord. My verdict, Mechanics 7. This deck will work only if you face multiple opponents. In a 1-to-1, I don't think it will work as intended. Playability and fun, 8. If you are facing 4 or more opponents, prepare yourself for a fun game. Value 9. The most valuable deck out of the 5. I am sure that certain cards in this deck will continue to increase in price. Overall 8.5 is the deck that gives you more value and the most playable and fun out of the 5. Just make sure it is a multiple player commander game. I assure you, you'll have 4 or more hours of unstoppable fun. Witherbloom Witchcraft, green and black, better known as Golgari. It's a particular deck focusing and benefiting from life gaining. Its main commander, Willow Dusk Ascensier, a particular commander that can add +1/+1 counters on another target creature based on the amount of life gained or lost. Secondary commander Guillaume Master Chef surely will not win any Michelin star, but can give you food token based on creatures entering the battlefield. Paying 1 mana and sacrificing a food can give indestructible to target creature. Other notable cards: Revival Experiment. You can return each permanent type to the battlefield for just 3 life each card. Blind Mount, an enchantment pumping pest and can convert dying non-token creatures to a 1/1 pest. Pest Infestation destroys artifacts and enchantments while on the same time creating twice as much 1/1 pest tokens. Jedora Grave Gardener returns any dying non-token creature as a forest. Excellent for ramping. There's also an interesting synergy with morph creatures. Just take a look at what Matt Tabak, rules manager for Magic the Gathering, had to say. Blossoming Bogbeast pumps up creatures based on life gained during the turn. Alhammer's Archives, another reprint from Magic Origins, doubles your life gained and card draws. My verdict, Mechanics 8. Life gaining is always a good strategy to play, especially in Commander, where the starting life total is 40 instead of 20. Playability and fun. 7. Gaining life is fun, but make sure you have creatures to attack. Value 8. Solid Commander decks in terms of value. Certain reprints like Alhamret's Archive and Venser's Juniors have added more EV. Overall 7.5. The deck is strong in terms of mechanics and value, but in my opinion lacks something. I hope you have a much clearer idea regarding these Commander 2021 or Strixhaven Commander decks. Let me know in the comments below which is your favorite deck. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more and more interesting videos about Magic the Gathering and the collectible world.